We often hear the term industries of the future, used as a catch-all sentence. In your view, what is this fundamental difference between this industrial new era and the models of the past?
Thank you for the invitation to this World Government Summit. May I introduce UNIDO? That's the UN Organization for Industrial Development. We have about 172 member states, even Mozambique. I was there several times. Our key sectors are investments. We are something like a bridge from the industrialized countries to development countries, bring technology and knowledge, partnership and investments in the key sector of food security, agriculture, food security, the energy sector, very important, of course, and then environmental protection. And for example, with Mozambique, the Excellency, we have some real projects at the ground. We are an implementation agency. This country is affected today with a very, very heavy flood disaster. That is one of the consequences of climate change. And at this conference, one signal must be solidarity. We need much more solidarity, involvement, investments from industrialized countries, the rich countries. You present the rich part of the world. This minister is even rich, but he presents the poor part of the world. And what about solidarity? What is the signal from this World Government Summit, the solidarity signal? What can we do to invest in development, in industry, in energy, in all what you need, jobs creation? Can you imagine looking forward, the African continent will double within the next 30 years. Then you are still a young woman. Within 30 years, they double their population. That means from 1.2 to 2.5 billion people. And the first question every day is, what about food? And therefore, that is the most important issue for African countries. And we bring investors, we bring partnership, and we bring technology and knowledge. And thanks for the good partnership with African countries.
So as you said, there's a lot of focus being done for the Global South. We saw it here at the World Government Summit. We saw leaders and presidents and prime ministers from the Global South. So more specifically, how can organizations like yours, or even countries like the UAE, help bridge the gap between the Global South and the very industrialized nations?
Look, I appreciate very much this forum. That is not so much in the focus of the rich countries in the world. What happens at the poor side? It's not really a discussion in the big forum. Yeah, they talk all about how to make money, how to invest and become more rich, how to use AI. But most needed in development country is first. Of course, they need electricity investment. 600 million people in Africa do not have access to electricity. 1 billion people in the world do not have access to drinkable water. But we do have the answer. We do have the knowledge. We do have the technology. We do have the money. The Emirates, they have the money. They have a lot of money for investments. What is missing? The political will to change the world, to change the situation and the partnership between the rich and the poor. And that is the signal from UNIDO. We invest in a new bridge, a new partnership.
And Minister, I wanted to ask you, so for your Farming for Business, you focused more on how the private sector can help. Do you see that the private sector has a bigger role than governments?
Yes, we have been implementing government-led policy on agriculture. And if we assess the results now for the last 15 years, the yields on the foodstuff have been stagnating. We're now talking about less than 1 ton per hectare for maize and rice, etc. And that's because we accredited our peasants on free distribution of inputs, which ended up not impacting positively on the output. So that's why we are now, if we compare with other systems where private sector-led growth, the yields are great and people are making money out of this. So that's why we don't have no doubt that moving and shifting from the government-led to private sector-led growth is the way forward. And we have a very positive histories on some crops led by private sector, bananas, sugar, etc., which now can compete worldwide. But on foodstuff, we're still stagnant, as I said, and we need to do something very strong to move forward.
Director General, do you agree? Do you think the private sector has a big role and a duty to play?
Yes, of course. Public money, that is something you can start some projects. But from projects to business, these countries, they need real investments in infrastructure, and that is private partnership. And the private business partner, they should think about where are the future markets. They always think, and that is okay, they think in win-win situation. I will invest, but I will get my money back. So business model. And investment in African countries, they need everything. Consumer products, electricity, infrastructure, but that are the future markets. And therefore it is interesting for private business partners to invest even in development countries. Yes, and that is what is necessary, of course, good governance structures and safe conditions for investments. And the minister will tell you how is the situation in his country, Mozambique. And then you can win, I think, here some investors.
Minister, just to follow up on the Director General, so do you think also the governments have a duty to ensure proper policy or incentives for the private sector to come and invest, maybe tax cuts?
Yes, for example, on the income tax, normally the normal business pays 32%. But if you go to agriculture, you pay 10%. It's a very huge incentive for the agri-industries to come and invest in Mozambique. But also, as you might be aware of, the land is owned by the state, which means that we're not selling the land. So when you're investing in Mozambique, you don't need to waste your money buying land. You lease it for 50 years. And I can tell you that the price of this butter can pay 1 year of hectare, 1 year tax for 1 hectare, yes, per year. And it's very cheap. So we have to invest your money building infrastructure and doing your business rather than paying the government for the land. And secondly, we do have a lot of other tax incentives. For some zones like Zambezi Valley, etc., we even get more incentives to invest. So the approach is come and invest, pay less on taxes, and use your money to grow your business. That's the approach.
Minister, you also manage agriculture, environment, and fisheries. In a rush to industrialization, how do you ensure that the future industries don't come at the cost of the environment?
Yeah, as Onid was saying, now we have floods. If we have invested in proper infrastructure, maybe the damage would be less. And today, we can say that the environment is challenging the agriculture, not the reverse. And the other thing is that for the subsistence agriculture, where with the yields of 1 or less than 1 ton per hectare, if we industrialize, putting modern inputs, etc., we'll use less land for more output, which we can reduce the impact of using land and other natural resources. So for us, we see the industrialization not as a problem, but as a solution for the environment, because we can reduce the pressure on land. Today, for example, the growth in agricultural output depends on the new area being opened. It means forestry having destroyed to use more land. And that system of subsistence agriculture is that after 3 years, we have to keep this land free and open new ones. For industrial agriculture, we don't need to open new lands every year. You can use modern inputs, and today we have a very, let's say, a modern inputs that can damage less the environment. So industrialization for us is a solution for environment, not the reverse. And today, the climate change, which is an environment thing, is damaging the agriculture. Now we have all the south underwater, etc., because of climate change, which Mozambique did that much effect of. We are receiving the impacts, but we're not causing them. That's why we say that let's invest in very strong infrastructure so we can save the environment while we are increasing output and making private sector to make money out of it. For this summit, I have parallel meeting with investors where we want to invite the EU investors to build a dam, for example, in Mapai, which can irrigate 200,000 hectares. And that dam, with 200,000 hectares and hydropower, we have water, energy, and food, while we are also making safe that currently flooded zones. So that's why we have to combine the energy, water, food, and also conservation.
You agree, right?
The precondition for development is access to energy. And here's the director. He will director of the arena, the
renewable energy.
Renewable energy. He will tell you about this. I visited yesterday the big solar park here in Dubai. They produce electricity, energy for the price of 1.6 cent, only less than 2 cents per kilowatt. So, and that is enormous. But that could be possible even in Mozambique. That is possible in every African country. They have this power of the sun. And then when they have access to cheap energy, that is the precondition for the next step for industrialization, for modern technology in agrotech, in food processing industry. That can only happen with access to electricity. And therefore, they need investments in this technology, use renewable energies for industrialization. And their investors are necessary. So everything is possible if we do it, if there's the political will of investors and of governments for cooperation. Otherwise, it is very difficult for the minister and the government of the 54 African countries really to go forward, develop their own industry.
Director General, also to follow up on that, where do you see the most opportunities when it comes to the industries of the futures? In which sector?
That's great. The development countries, there are huge opportunities for the future. That are the future markets because of population growth, because of a young population, because of women power. Yeah, young women power there. So, and there are huge markets for the future. For example, that is the consumer market. Every young Africans ask for the same what you are interested in. from bicycle to car, cell phone, everything they ask for. That is a huge consumer market for the future. Infrastructure. The African countries, the African continent, every month, can you imagine, every month they establish the infrastructure of New York City, every month. So, and that will happen the next 20 years. So that is enormous. Or look about the pharmaceutical market. They ask for everything what we need, medicine. So that there are huge markets, huge opportunities and chances. But we have to bring together the rich part of the world, the industrialized countries with the poor part, and not as something like charity. No, for business. For real business with these people, with these ministers, with this government.
Minister, you are currently digitalizing the entire seed and financing chain in Mozambique to fight corruption and phantom farmers. Is digitalization the silver bullet for government readiness?
Yes, our strategy, that shift for substance for farming, for business, doesn't mean that we will take our peasants, our small-scale farmers away of that. But we have to find a new way to introduce the modern inputs, credit, etc., to them. So we have to go digital. There's no way around about this. We have to go digital to make sure that the outreach for the farmers is there without the corruption. Because we're no longer doing a free distribution of inputs. So it means that we have to integrate the small-scale farmers into value chains. So digitalization is a tool that will allow us, the bankers, etc., to target those small-scale farmers into production. Secondly, because we know that the commercial banks are not, in fact, favor in providing credit to smallholder farmers, we have to rely on soft loans with some matching grants, etc. So the best way to make that funds available to the smallholder farmers must be through digital systems. And for us, this is not negotiable. We have to go that. And it's good also to note that our small-scale farmers, our youth, are more conscient on high-techs. Today, we see drones doing sprays, etc. So going digital for the modern agriculture is a must.
Yeah.
Director General, I saw you taking notes. Do you agree?
Yeah, I have a lot of messages. Look, the IL must fulfill their commitment. That is one sign. What about the 0.7 commitment? What about the debt and loss damage fund? The climate commitment? That are all speeches here, but not real facts. And then what is most important, I think, is access to the world finance market. There was the director from IMF, my friend Georgieva. Yeah, this country, ask the minister, has not really access to the world finance market. And if, then he has to pay more than 10 or 15% interest rate. So it's not possible. So that is not a situation for the future or fair trade. These countries, they have the minerals for modern life for you. Your cell phone will not function without cobalt or lithium from Mozambique, from Sierra Leone, for African countries. But we take the resources, we take it out of the country, and there is nearly no local added value for the industry and the economy in the African and Latin American countries. We take it, and the local added value isn't there. That we have to change. So I have real messages. Change the world in a better way. Not only talk about proposals and how to make money in our industrialized world. Solidarity, that is the message, and investments.
Director General Minister, thank you so much for your time today.